And we are live. I'd like to welcome everybody to a very special edition of the Let's Talk Fishing podcast. This is my first edition of the Let's Talk Fishing video podcast of the year. And the Let's Talk podcast is brought to Grant Rods, Asher Lures, and of course the American Bass Club. With me tonight, I have a guy I've actually fished with, and guy I've gotten to know over a couple of years. And man, I'll tell you what, I watched him fish, and he's a great fisherman. He's been fishing the nearshore waters of Louisiana his entire life. I have none other than Dubreuil from Cajun Outcast Fishing Club. How you doing tonight, Gary?
I'm doing pretty good there, Mr. J. How you doing?
I'm doing great. This cold weather just, makes me excited wanting to go fishing.
Oh, it's that kind of weather, you're not out there sweating in, 100-degree weather.
Yeah. I think it got up to like 75 today, but so that's not 100.
No, well, it's been crazy because, the other day it was like got up to 80, 85. And then now we back down to our high today, I think was like 69, 71, something like that.
Yep. And a couple weeks ago, it was in the 20s.
Right. Boy, Mother Nature, I can tell you,
I don't understand it. Gary, I met you through the Cajun Outcast Fishing Club because you guys put on a monthly tournament. You want to talk about that for a couple minutes?
Yes, sir. We put on a monthly tournament. It's it's just an average Joe's tournament. It's not nothing pro wise. We get together and we go out once a month and we fish for some redfish, and we have a good time doing it. We have a lot of people that they continuously fish it every month, and
Sure.
sometimes, some of them, for the last 2 years have been, pretty much fishing with us, and, it's been a good time. So, we try to do this for our brother Brandon, Atlas Brewer. He was he served in the military for 18 years. We call it the Brandon Atlas Memorial Redfish Tournament. We'll continue to do this tournament every year. It's a monthly thing, so we fish 12 months out the year, and then if you fish 4, you qualify to fish the championship. And on the 13th month, we'll go out, we'll fish the championship, and see who can bring in the winners. And most of the proceeds that we get, it does go back to our awards and to put on the championship. We'll have food and stuff like that there, and this year, we're going to try to introduce the redfish that Brandon and Chad had caught, Captain Chad St. Pay, that before he passed away, he had that fish stuffed, so
Yeah.
And we're going to have a plaque made for it. We're going to give a dog tag to every year that comes out to the first place winner of the season and the championship, the angler of the year and the winner of the championship. We're going to give them a dog tag and give them a place on a plaque, and
Wow.
we'll continue to do that,
How can someone find out more information about this if they wanted to join this fishing club?
They can go to Cajun Outcast Fishing Club and they can go to the join. They can join the club. It's free to join. We have close to 12,000 members now. So it's a free club. We're drama free. I can say that for the last almost 5 years we haven't had hardly any problems of having people fighting or arguing. You do have your guys out there that throw their little comments out here and there, like where the fish is at. Somebody tell you, oh, it's in the water, and then they get all mad. But it is what it is. It's a joke, it's a
Yeah.
but not everybody wants to give up their fishing spots,
as an outdoor communicator, that's kind of my job.
Well, true, yeah. You talk to people in certain areas and you find out where the fish are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
But as you know, they're not going to be there tomorrow.
no, exactly. Just because I caught fish there today doesn't mean that you're going to catch them there tomorrow. And I can go out in the same spot, me and you in the same spot, and I may be catching it and you may not,
In fact, that happened.
It's all in the presentation, I guess,
In fact, that happened when I was fishing with you, but also I think I caught 25 fish that day, and I think you did too.
Right. We did put some fish in the boat that day, and some of them were very nice.
Yes, we caught some really nice ones. Guys, I went fishing with Captain Chad St. Pay of Cajun Outcast Charters, and with none other than Gary Dubreuil, and and Kenneth Krieger of Undertaker Corks, and of course Greg Campbell of MojoTackle.com, the Mojo Shrimp.
Yep.
I bet you between the five of us, I bet you we put at least 80 trout in the boat, a bunch of sheep's head, and a couple of nice reds, and maybe even a couple of bonus hardhead catfish.
Yep, and it was red. It was very windy that day too. It was a
Yeah, it was
windy day.
It was windy, but Chad's boat handled the waves.
Exactly. That boat handles beautifully in the water.
I've been in boats that were a lot less comfortable than that.
Oh yeah, he's got some nice seating in there for sure. But hey, that's the cost of a pretty boat and a pretty penny. Charter captain's got to have a nice rod for their people to go out in.
Well, and also, a lot of it is to the driver. How the boat has to be able. You have to have a certain amount of boat to be able to handle waves, but also it's how the driver handles the boat too. And Captain Chad handled that boat expertly, and he found the fish, and just the very first cast I did out of Captain Chad's boat, I hooked into a real nice trout. I lost it, but that was on me.
It happens,
It's like we discussed before. That's why they call it fishing.
Right. Well, trout have soft mouths. It's kind of if you don't get them right, and it's a possibility they can come off.
And that's a hard thing for a bass fisherman like me to deal with, because in the bass world we have a saying that hook sets are free. Well, if you set the hook on a trout like you set the hook on a bass, you're going to rip it right through their mouth.
Right.
And a bass is just going to go like this, and then he's going to be
mad.
The
bass, they kind of a lot different bite. They'll grab it up, pick it, swim sideways for it with a second. It depends on what you're fishing with, I guess. If you're fishing with plastic or if you're using spinner baits or worms or whatever, but it's all a different hit. With the spinner bait, they grab and pull for the fight. The plastics you pop and they pop up and then they'll grab it and swim a little sideways with it and make you fool around, like it looked like a redfish, because that redfish do the same thing. They grab it and they like to pull it sideways a little bit. They don't take it straight down most times.
Well, guys, if you want more information about Cajun Outcast Fishing Club, it's Facebook. Search Cajun Outcast Fishing Club. You can contact Captain Chad St. Pay with that. I highly recommend Captain Chad St. Pay for charter boat captain. Gary Dubreuil works with him.
Yep. And we brothers, you know what I'm saying? And, I'm the vice president of the club. He's the president of the club, but he also started his own charter service. And, he's been fishing these waters for 35 years plus, He knows where to go, how to go out and how to come back. That's the main two goals of when you go fishing, go out and come back. If you don't come back, then you're not doing good.
Well,
so he's never had a problem.
You're exactly right. That's the captain's first and only important job, is to bring his people back alive. And
that's correct.
I wasn't a charter boat captain, but I was an inland water fishing guide for 17 years. I know how to do it, and I can tell you just by personal experience, Captain Chad also knows how to do it.
Yes, he is. I got to say that too. He's also, he's got an awesome personality. He can make your trip. If you're having a bad day, he's going to do his best to make your day, turn around quick, whether if it's telling you a joke or, putting you on some good fishing, either way, you're going to have, a great time. So,
and that's the secret of being a successful fishing guide. You have to entertain your people.
Exactly.
If they're not being entertained by the fish, you better entertain them.
Right.
And he understood that. I could tell that right away. I've also chartered a lot of guides as an outdoor communicator, and there have been some people I just wasn't impressed with, and Captain Chad is definitely not among that. I had a great time from beginning to end between me, you, and Captain Chad and Greg Campbell and Kenny Krieger. We were laughing the whole day.
Oh yeah. He's definitely, if I'm having a bad day, he can find a way, like I said, on any day. It don't matter what we're doing. He can make a way to make me turn that frown into a smile. Either way it goes, So, like you said, but if he can bring you out there and y'all can catch fish, hey, you know what I'm saying? And which, most times y'all will, but at the same time, you're also going to have that, that personality that comes from Captain Chad too, which is, you know, one of his best qualities. You know, he is he's very good with, you know, feeling people out, and you know, he's not a strict captain, you know, like some captains can be. You know, oh, don't do this, don't do that. You know, you're standing there wrong. You know how it could go. You know, but
You're
you
casting
know,
wrong. Yeah.
right? You know, you're crossing over him, or this, that, and the other. You know, he tries to be the most patient guy in the world. So, you know,
Wanted to ask you, would you happen to have a Mojo shrimp you could show the
oh yeah,
folks?
I got plenty of Mojo shrimp. Let's
I
see.
used up all of mine, but you know, I'm going to go fishing with Greg again here soon.
I have the Mojo pineapple.
Ooh, Pineapple Express. Show guys, Pineapple Express. If you want to put that just a little bit closer, so go a little bit over. There you go. Guys, now look at the detail on this lure. Look at that color. This is my favorite color. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, Gary. If I had to choose artificial lure I could use on them in the near shore waters of south of Louisiana, this would be what I'd use. I know a lot of people will argue with me, but and I don't
Oh
have
yeah.
anywhere near as much experience as you. But
Well, I've always liked the lighter colors. You know what I'm saying? And when
yeah,
this came out, it had the pineapple. You know, that pineapple color to it. You know, it popped in the water. You know, and it has great movement, just like a shrimp. It's very durable. I have to say, I've caught plenty of fish on them, and they last. You know, where some baits, you know, they get ate up very quick. You know, from trout, the teeth get in them. They rip it up and shred them. You know.
oh
Um,
yeah, Trout
You
got
know, we
those
have
two
that,
little.
and we have, you know, I have the pineapple. We also have it's called a Mardi Gras.
Oh yeah, is it Mardi
It's
Gras
the
the kind
Mardi
of
Gras.
purple
Let me try
color?
to get that a little better in there.
Yeah, see
There's a
that
pink,
purple color, folks?
yeah, it says that
Purple is
purple and it's green and yellow. It's like purple color. You'd have to look really
purple is
down
one
on
of
the
those
tail. You
secret
just,
colors, man. Secret colors.
right. You
You know
know,
one of my favorite colors, Gary? Right there.
oh, there you go.
I know a lot of people might argue with me about pink, but man, now as
Oh,
far as
pink.
marsh bass goes, I have caught a lot of marsh bass on this. This is a
I love pink.
duo realis jerkbait. Never caught any
Oh,
like trout or on this, but I'm sure you see how long that thing is. You can kind of see it up against my
I'll be
hand.
honest with you. I mean, I don't see why a trout wouldn't hit that. I mean, I used to fish the pink lure all the time before I started fishing with the Mojo. I mean, I used to fish with Voodoo, which was an egret bait, and you know,
Oh
it
yeah.
was pink, and they stopped
Um,
making them. They you can't even get them anymore. So, um,
Egret doesn't make the voodoo shrimp anymore.
they don't make that color. It don't make.
Pink.
There was a
Okay.
pink, right? It was a pink colored with a pearl body, and it had a chartreuse eyes. And
Ooh.
it was just a killer bait. You know, I've caught lots of fish on it, so I don't know why it was canceled, but you know, I don't know what was the deal. I mean, I mean, Voodoo still sells their shrimp, but it is what it is. You know, but since Greg came out and he's made these, you know, they you know, the weights on them, or you know,
Yeah.
they fish right. You know they got great balance with them. So when you're popping them, you can, you know, on an undertaker caulk, you can feel them come up. You know, you can see them. You know, actually, when you pop that caulk, you can see that bait come up to the top of the water.
Yeah. It comes up, then it goes down, and
Exactly. You know, it's a great thing to work with. You know, so you know, got them undertaker caulks. You know, you got that
oh, I
nice
love
popping
Undertaker
sound
Cork.
to them. Me, I'm more, you know, shallow water popper. I don't like to use, you know, the big, giant caulks. I got the A caulk, you know.
Yeah, the egg cork. That's the one I seem to have a lot of. I like the shallow water corks too.
But I only use a certain color. The orange and the yellow, I'm kind of colorblind, so it's really hard for me to see lighter colors like the greens or the pinks. I probably could see the pink, but just they give me a problem when I fish. So, and seeing them.
Okay, we have a comment by Mojo Tackle Company, which is probably our friend Greg Campbell.
Oh yeah.
He said Chad named it. Chad named the Pineapple Express, I guess. Is that what you're trying to tell us, Greg?
I know Chad was naming I know he did come up with a name with one of them, and I think they were discussing a name for another one.
Okay.
But now
Chad,
I think that Chad did come up with they were going with it and say I think he did say something about a Pineapple Express actually.
Pineapple Express, because we've only talked about two. Yep, he said yes. Chad named the Pineapple Express. Well, that's his I don't know if that's his biggest selling um color, but that's definitely the favorite color that he has for me.
Right. Well, the Mojo, I like the Mojo, and also like a Glow. He makes a Glow shrimp too.
The glow
Um,
shrimp, okay.
yeah, he makes a Glow shrimp and the purple haze.
Purple haze.
Yeah.
Isn't Mardi Gras also purple?
Mardi Gras has a purple head in it, but if you look down the tail, it's got like a greenish and light color to it. It's
Okay.
Yeah, and the tail has like a little different discoloring to it. I know it's hard to see it. But you can
Okay.
see how
I
the
can see
tail
that. Yeah.
has a little
Yes,
bit of
I
a
can.
discolor to it. It turns
I've
in from
also
like a green to a yellow black kind of coloring. And this is a pretty good shrimp too. I mean, can't say that I've honestly did too much on it because I'm usually grabbing the Pineapple Express. You know, I mean, it's the one I
yeah.
go with. You know,
Well, that's one thing I like to talk about on my podcast is confidence. After you've caught 300 shrimp on the same color and same size, it's hard to use. No, I mean, after you've caught 300 trout on the same color and same size, it's hard to use anything else.
correct, exactly.
I have to physically tear myself away from my favorite lures to try something else so I can branch out as a fisherman and learn how to catch things on other things.
Um, True. That was one of my problems too. You know, I know you said you wanted to talk to me about red fishing and all that. You know, I
Yes.
can't say that I'm the greatest red fisher, out there. I've always, my daddy always taught me never kill what you don't eat.
Sure.
So I don't really eat redfish. So I mean, I don't get me wrong. I like the small ones. You give me a 16-inch redfish, I love to fry them up and eat them like that. But when it comes to the bigger ones, I'd
Up to
rather
about
throw them back over or give them to somebody.
up to about 24 inches. Now, a 24 incher, what I like to do is put him on the grill and cook him on the half shell. But anything bigger than 24, that's when they start breeding, and I'd rather save him or her for the breeding.
Right, just throw the big ones over. I mean, I've saved. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna sit back and say I haven't kept one here or there. That was kind of 27, 32 or something. But if somebody asked me for a giant redfish that they wanted it, well, then I would bring it in for them. But I'm not going to keep I just don't. It was not something that I never ate, so I never was a big fish on. Now I can go out and fish for them, and I can catch them, and I'm learning more and more with the tournament. But you know,
That's what I
I have to
wanted to
start
ask you.
following some of my guys around. Waiting for let them go ahead and let me follow them. Because Mr. Mike Guillemette, boy, he can put some redfish in the boat. Him and Jeff Sands,
Oh
them
yeah,
guys over there, nothing but
that's
redfish can
something.
fish them redfish, man.
That's something else I wanted to talk about. Thank you for bringing that up. If you're in a hurry to learn about how to catch redfish, nothing Facebook, nothing but redfish. Michael Guillemette, Jeffrey Sands, and there's a bunch of solid Gary Dubreuil, Captain Chad. And if you ask a question on that on that Facebook page, it's very unlikely somebody's going to say, "Oh, they're in the water." If I see a bunch of comments like that on a Facebook page, I won't go back. I don't have time. I run two podcasts. I work full time. I have four kids. Eh, you know,
Right.
and sometimes adult kids are even more work than when I was raising them.
Well, I mean, I think we both had the same goals. We just want to help people and be there for our
Exactly.
community and talk about fishing and see pics of fishes, and kids fishing. It's what it's like instilling our heritage. You know what I'm saying? To teach
Absolutely. And
more children, younger kids to fish, put down the phone.
I want people to feel comfortable coming to a Facebook page and asking questions. And the biggest way to make them not feel comfortable is by being Mr. Smarty Pants.
Right. Exactly. But
You
they
know,
do have people out there like that, you know. I mean, if you got, over 11,000 members in your club, well, then somebody's going to not be the nice guys all the time,
I've noticed though about Cajun Outcast is, I go there just about every day. I check about eight different Facebook pages a day, and 99% of of the posts there are positive and nice and friendly.
Right. We
Nothing but
don't put up with
redfish.
it.
Nothing
That's
but
right. We will not
redfish.
put up with it. We do not tolerate it. We'll put you out of the club before we have any drama start.
Nothing but redfish. Jeffrey and Mike watch that. Also, I post every one of my podcasts on All About Fishing, which is another one of Michael Guillemet's. Just I feel comfortable putting my podcast there. I know nobody's going to bash me.
And why
You
would they
know.
bash you? We're talking about fishing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, we produce. We're bringing baits and corks and enlightenment to people that may have not have tried this before, and maybe they'll try it and see what we doing and how we do it. And
Well, let me ask you this. So you're out there, you want to catch redfish. You're specifically targeting redfish for the monthly derby.
correct.
How are you going to fish differently than if you're fishing for trout?
Well, trout and redfish. Trout, I'm gonna move to a little bit more open water. Um, and redfish, I move more towards the marsh. Look
Okay.
for waterways where the water's moving around the banks, and redfish are predators. So if you got a caulk with a mojo shrimp on it, and you're popping it, and it's floating along the side of the bank line with the current, and the current's moving pretty good, and it comes up to this little section that's got a little cut in it. Well, most probably you're gonna have a redfish sitting in there waiting for a piece of bait to come right by. Right, exactly. So and they grab it and that's it. They're more like a predator.
You know who I caught a lot of redfish with is your cousin Frankie.
Oh, Frankie, yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
Frankie Filet.
yeah, I went out there with Frankie. It was me, Frankie, and my wife, and I mean, I cast it out. I had some fresh dead shrimp under a cork, and I'm sitting there watching that thing, and all of a sudden it just starts slowly going down. I'm like, ooh, that is a bite.
Right.
And my wife's looking at it. She's like, "Are you?" Yep.
Yep.
I'm positive the corks just don't sink by themselves,
No. No,
and they don't
exactly. And
always.
they don't go the opposite way in the current neither.
And but they don't always just go deep.
Right.
Sometimes I've seen them do
Sometimes
that,
right.
and that's a trout bite. I think when it goes ding, and you could actually hear it pop because it
Hmm.
got pulled under so fast. That's a classic trout bite. I think.
Right. But you do have the reds that will, when they take that swallow and they hit that hook, when that hook hits, they going.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, if they sit
Oh
there and
yeah.
playing with it and gumming it in the inside of their mouth, and then like you said, you see the cork start going sideways a little bit, to me that kind of looks like a bass, because bass do the same thing to me, at least I've seen on a cork or with the
Yeah.
pineapple or dead shrimp, a live shrimp. Either way it goes, they grab it and they pull it sideways. They don't like to take it straight under.
That's what you were talking about when a redfish just takes it real hard. Those are the people I see fishing along the road on Highway 1 because man, I know the road on Highway 1 going in the Grand Isle real well. In fact, I've caught a lot of the redfish I've caught have been right there off the side of the road.
Yeah.
You're sitting there and I'm fishing, and all of a sudden I see somebody's rod go whoosh. See ya.
Oh yeah. I've caught plenty of fish down there too. We used to go down there for a bunch of years, a long, long time. But after Katrina came, we like to book our trips for the Labor Day weekend, which is they do the Camelita Redfish
Yep.
tournament out there that time, and the Tarpon Rodeo is like a couple weeks before that, and then they
Rodeo,
have
yeah.
that one. So we should go out there a long time. But after Katrina, it was like, because we want to go out there. But every time we want to go out there during that time, there's always a storm coming. So every time that we booked the trip to go out there, it was like another storm's coming in the Gulf, another storm's coming in the Gulf.
Yeah, and that
So once the
caused all
storm
kinds of
comes in the
problems.
Gulf, you pretty much can cancel your fishing. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, the fishing hasn't been as good there after Ida either. It's a
So I mean,
shame.
well, I mean, everything with everything, the fish move. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, they
So
sure do.
I mean, we some fish don't get a chance to even get to come inland because from the from the Gulf right there, a lot of people fish out there. And I
Yep.
see a lot of people and captains from Grand Isle do put some serious fish in the boat. So
Oh,
when
they
they hitting
do.
over there, they hit.
Man, I was there one time cutting up redfish right over there by Bridgeside, and a captain came in with a Warsaw grouper. I mean, I thought I looked at that and I'm like, Goliath. He goes, no, it's not a Goliath. That's a good guess though. It's a Warsaw grouper. We don't. I'm like, wow. I mean, it had a mouth that big. Gave me shivers
Wow.
just to see
I
something
was
like
reading
that.
something today earlier of a lady in, I want to say, South Carolina, I believe, or something like that, caught a 11.5 pound trout.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
over 30 inches.
It was big. She then I'm trying to remember which page I was reading that I seen it on, because it was on there, and I was like in South Carolina, but I mean I do know that South Carolina gets the salt water too, but
Yep,
they do have blue crabs,
yep.
so I don't see why they wouldn't have speckled trout.
Just,
I've
just,
never
just
fished
like
it for. I've been out there before, but I've never fished out there before.
just like Texas, they don't get the numbers of trout that we get, but boy, the ones they get are
Oh, big.
freaking enormous. And they don't get the of redfish that we get, but they get some real big ones.
Right.
I'm just thankful for the fish that we have here, and you know, I didn't think I could ever find anything that could distract me from bass fishing, but I found it. Redfish and trout are definitely a distraction for me. I can't. They're just too tempting.
Well, as the old saying, like I said, say everybody, it don't matter as long as I get up in the morning, I go fishing, and I'll come home in the evening. Whether if I caught fish or not, I still had an awesome day, because that's my
Yep.
peace and my piece of the being out there in peace and away from the world and everything that's going on in it. But it's that's your way to get away and release. Everybody has their own ways. Some people do it fishing, some people do it dancing. So some people do it eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so but
But man, so
but we hope to keep this tournament that we're talking about with the club, and keeping it going and for years and years to come. We want to keep Brandon's name and remembrance of him, still fresh and keep it going, because we miss him a lot, so it is a hard
guys,
thing for us.
I fished that tournament once, and I fished a lot of tournaments in my life, and I fished big ones, I fished small ones. One thing I liked about the Cajun Outcasts event was it was friendly. I like that. A couple of the contestants came up on us when we were fishing. And they just asked us how we were doing and said, there's some over there. Wow, wow. When I was fishing the bass fishing league, if you came up on another contestant like that, they'd yell at you.
Right.
I don't like to talk badly about anybody, but just actually, I'm talking good about Cajun Outcast. That the guys were friendly, everybody was talking. At the weigh-in, Mike McGillimet and Jeffrey Sands came up to me and wanted to talk about my podcast. Jeez, I just felt welcome.
Got that good Southern hospitality. You know what I'm saying? That's what we all good old boys. You know what I'm saying? That just love to fish and get together with some friends and and do that. And it makes memories too. That we all come in. We got that one little story that we tell. This one got away, or I had him in the boat and he jumped out, or
Oh, that's happened to me too.
right, so
during,
sometimes we go fishing
during a
right after,
tournament.
we'll come in, weigh out fish, and then we'll go back out fishing. And then, soon the first fish we catch, is like 26 and like 7/8, right off the mark of 27 inches, and it's like, wow, I couldn't do that an hour ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and guys, these tournaments, they don't get too terribly big. I've fished tournaments with 200 boats in it. I think there were 30 boats that day that I went out.
Right. I think that's about what we had, about 30 boats. I mean, on
You
an
know,
average, we have, at least about 10 boats. We always have our regulars that love the fish. They love the club. They love the camaraderie and, the getting together and talking, and, I tell them every time I come, "Man, I'm following y'all today. I'm following y'all today,
tail piping.
Can't
Yeah.
lose me today. I'm following y'all, but I don't never follow them, It's just
You want to get a tournament angler riled up. That's what you tell them.
right.
Guess who's tail piping? This guy.
Right. You can call me, uh, what they call that, pot licking.
Tail piping. Yeah.
I'm gonna be pot licking today or whatever you want, but it's all in good fun, and
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
gets mad. We never talk down to nobody. Nobody curses nobody out, and it's always been a great time. I got to say that, a great time. That's one of the reasons why I love doing it.
Yeah. Well, guys, what I want you to take away from this talk that Gary and I had, Undertaker Corks, our good friend Kenny Krieger, fantastic corks,
Shrimp.
Mojo Shrimp. Boy, I can't say enough about that combination. You need a good rod. I like to use razor rod. That's RAZR, RODZ, razorrods.com. But to tell you the truth, most of my redfish have come off of a rod I bought at Walmart. Before I started this podcast, I didn't have, hundreds of dollars to spend on a rod. So I bought a rod at Walmart, and and I'm not going to take an expensive rod and expensive reel out into the surf, go surf fishing.
No.
$25 throwaway.
Right.
You want to get started red fishing, guys. Go to Grand Isle in the month of late July, early August.
Right.
Walk out in between the jetties, throw a half crab, and hold on.
And pull a bull.
Hold on. And be safe when you do that. If you hook into something, before you start really fighting it, walk back to the beach, because there are a lot of bull sharks, there are a lot of white tip sharks there. And you don't want to be anywhere. They're not going to bite you. You don't want to be anywhere near that fish when it's thrashing around. Because I have brought one in before. It's just dead. What happened? I'm pulling in dead weight now. I'm going to show all shark ate it. The tax man.
Right. I tell somebody, my brother-in-law, when we used to go to Grand Isle, he used to take shrimp and put them in his pocket.
Oh,
I was like, Lord. Don't do that. He's like, well, why? I said, well, don't you think that, something might come and smell that out your pocket? What you think's going to happen? I mean,
bite out of your leg looking for the shrimp.
Right. Exactly. And they got sand sharks, like you said, they got bull sharks, they got black tip sharks. Actually the Gulf of Mexico is producing some, putting some really, I think actually last year we even had a great white.
Woo,
in the Gulf of
I have heard
Mexico.
stories of great whites in the Gulf of Mexico. I have.
Right. So,
but guys, I don't want you to be scared to walk out into the Gulf of Mexico. Just
no.
Be smart about it. Don't put shrimp in your pocket. Don't. If
Right.
you're fighting a big fish and you're standing there in the water, don't let that fish anywhere near you. We'll walk back to the beach where the fish can't go, and fight it, and just bring it right up onto the beach. It's a great way to land a big fish. He's going to go up on the beach. He's going to flop around. That's where you can fight him on your own turf.
Right.
Mojo Taco was asking a question about surface drives in the tournament.
Surface drives. Let's see. If we're talking, I don't think that surface drives are allowed in the tournament.
Okay. I know it's kind of a hot button topic right there, but I'm just telling
right.
you.
We don't allow mud boats, surface drives, stuff like that, in there, airboats. They can get into, a lot of places that people can't get into. Some of us that have bigger boats, it's a little unfair. And, number two is, mud boats do tear up the marsh.
Sure.
They running in shallow waters, and I don't want to talk about it like that. You know what I'm saying? But if they, the other thing is that,
Okay.
most tournaments don't let surface drives or mud boats in them.
Okay, that's a rule. We stated that, and we can move on.
Right. So, but we try. Maybe this next year we may come back to putting letting mud boats, because our first season we did have mud boats and surface drives and all them in it too, and and it seemed to go well. So we may put it back in this year coming. So as long as nobody has a problem with it, then we won't have a problem with it, because we try to accommodate to everybody, not just one person, or we try to accommodate and help people. I mean, we understand some people have a surface drive and it is what it is, and that's what they fish out of, and I get it.
Yeah,
I mean, I used to fish out of a little bitty 14-foot flatboat with a 25 on it. I mean,
you caught a
it's
lot of fish out of there. I bet you caught a
right.
lot of fish out of there.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I put fish, shrimp, crabs.
It just
So,
seems like
but yeah, maybe next year for this next season coming, me and Chad, we're gonna sit back and talk about it, and we're gonna readjust some of the rules anyway. So we'll go from there. We'll see. That's all. They just keep it tuned with the club, and you'll see it.
okay. Well, man, do you have any shout outs you'd like to do, Gary?
Oh well,
Thank
as
you.
we've been shouting out the whole, Kenny Krieger with Undertaker Cogs, Mr. Greg Campbell with the Mojo Shrimp, um, Mr. Bo Gentiles with Bo's Custom Rods, um, who we got? Fillets All Blades, Mr. Paul Bates, uh, uh,
Sure.
Sink is by the Pound by Mr. Chip Clements, which I'm gonna
Yep.
give him a
Yeah.
quick
There you
shout
go.
out. This past year, Mr. Chip put together another little package for us for our toy drive, our kids' toy drive for the Children's Hospital for Christmas, and he did an awesome job. I mean, he's always giving, helping, nicest gentleman you ever want to meet in your life. Um, you know, um,
I'd like to meet
and
him someday.
I'm sorry, Cajun Outcast Charters, Captain Ted St. Pay. If y'all down in South Louisiana, please give him a call, man. He's one of your next upcoming hottest fishermen down here. So he can also provide accommodations for staying, and if you need a hotel or camp or whatever, he can provide y'all with anything you need. So and
Full
of course,
service.
Cajun Outcast Fishing Club. Without that, we are nothing. So we're just a little bitty, just two people, trying to do our thing and promote fishing to families, and trying to get kids off the street, off the phones, and to fish.
There you
Same
go.
thing with nothing but fishing, and with Mike Gulliment and Jeffrey Sands too. They awesome guys, and we're just trying to all make a difference in the world some little way if we can.
Sure. Sure. And you know what? I'd like to make a shout out to you and Chad. Thank you all for making that a very special fishing trip for me. I can only speak for myself. I know that Greg and Kenny also enjoyed themselves immensely. But I just wanted to give a huge shout out, huge thank you to you too.
Well, we
You and
try,
Captain
what I'm
Chad.
saying, and that's the south. That's that southern hospitality you're getting from all us southern boys down here.
Yeah, well, I'd just like to tell everybody that I had Captain Chad comes highly recommended by me. He took me fishing, and you know I don't forget stuff like that.
Well, when you make memories, there's memories that'll never, never, never leave your brain. I mean,
You know,
as I
you
was
talk
telling you
about
earlier, every
you
fish
talk
trip
about
I go on, I'm like a little kid. It's like the first time when I was 5 years
exactly.
old. Right.
When you
I know
talked
I'm
about
going
taking
fishing
kids
tomorrow.
fishing,
I'm not going to sleep tonight.
when you talked about taking kids fishing, you took this 54-year-old kid fishing, and I loved it.
Yep. We always going to be big kids. That's it. That's how it's going to be,
Yep. And that's what people ask. Well, you're a great fisher. No, I'm just another irresponsible guy who fishes too much.
That's it. We all go through our trials and tribulations, being on a boat, So,
Well, Gary,
and
I'd like
even
to
not
thank
on a
you.
boat, it could be on land.
Oh yeah, Gary, I'd like to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to our listeners here on the Let's Talk Fishing podcast. And I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into the Let's Talk Fishing podcast. You know what, guys? It's Thursday night. Go fishing this weekend, because one thing I've learned, you only get to do this once.
Exactly.
Okay,
You
I'm
only
going to
got
end the
one life.
podcast with that. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Gary?
No, thank you very much to you, Mr. J, for always, being accommodating to the club, helping us out in any way, and always producing fit. I mean, putting out your podcast to produce. To represent fishing.
Thank you. Stick around. I'm going to end the podcast now. I'd like to talk to you for 2 minutes afterwards.
Okay.